Going to record. So we're in record mode now. All right. So looks like we've got a pretty clean line from a sound standpoint. Everything sounds pretty good. I don't hear anybody breaking through. If they do break through, I'll try and find them as quick as I can and help mute their lines. Or maybe you guys will know who it is, because usually when someone breaks through and then their mic goes live, there's a green uh, square around their camera, and it kind of is telling you who's talking, right? And so you guys might can help me in the chat with that a little bit. So nice to see all you guys in here, and let's get started with this. So tonight it's going to be I'm going to be teaching some things that are very basic and very advanced tonight. All right. And so I'm going to try to cover a variety of skill sets in social media, but I'm also going to be teaching you guys some things that you should be applying no matter your skill set in social media. And I'll be honest with you guys, just a year ago, even though we were training people on how to use social media, um, I had a hard time feeling really good about training my team on social media, because unless you're succeeding at something at a high level, I just don't think you should be teaching it. And so you guys may feel the same way when you're trying to teach your teams, that there's just so many things that you're still trying to figure out. It's hard to kind of train your team sometimes and not feel hypocritical. However, over the last year or so, we've had enough success that there's some things I can definitely share with you from experience that work. And that's what I'm going to share with you guys. Just know that social media is an ever moving machine. Literally every day, there's new rules, literally every day. And you could go bald pulling your hair out, trying to figure it out. But there are some things that have worked consistently over the last couple weeks and months that we know is still good today. But there's so many platforms. You guys know the big ones like Facebook and Instagram. Maybe you're into LinkedIn. I know there's some guys and ladies and gentlemen that are doing good there. YouTube is one that's often missed. But you may not know this, it is the second largest search engine to Google. The second search engine in social media to Google is YouTube. Literally everything is there. In fact, I'm going to be teaching you tonight a little bit on how to use YouTube and Google for your social media feeds. But, then there's TikTok that's come out, and there's Twitter. That's more for celebrities, I think. And the new app on the block is called Clubhouse, and you may have heard it, maybe not heard it. And so you can spend hours fooling around with these platforms and lose out on production for the day. So the number one rule is, before you are engaged in learning social media, you should be engaged in your income producing activities first. And so if you don't have a daily DMO, get with your team, your support team, ask for their daily DMO, get the income producing activities done first, then engage in learning in social media. Right now, I'll tell you that for myself and Lynette, we were pretty close. I'm currently studying 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day is my study time. That's not my personal development time. That's my social media study time. 2 hours a day right now, which might be excessive for some of you. It's just where our space is, mainly because of COVID. Okay. We all said we wanted a home-based business. Well, guess what? We got one. We got a home-based business. And so our business, for the most part, is being done virtually. Zoom is a big part of our business, as you guys know. There are some meetings happening one-on-one. I actually did a live one-on-one meeting at Starbucks a couple of weeks ago. It was like, I was never been so happy in my life to go do a meeting at Starbucks. It was awesome. And so when we get back to that, that'll be great. But for the time being, social media is really, really important. So here's what we're going to be covering tonight a little bit. We're going to be talking about branding a little bit, not brand done, branding. We're going to talk about the difference between stories and post, because there's a difference. We're going to be talking about Facebook groups, and we're going to be talking about distractions inside of what you're posting. I'm going to give you a posting formula to follow. I'm going to give you some ideas of where to get content if you just don't know what to post for the day. And then we're going to go into a Q&A. All right. So and I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. So what I would say to do is, as the questions come up, put them in the chat. I'll try and keep my eye there. If I don't get to them there, you may want to copy and copy and repaste it in, right? Keep it rolling and I'll eventually see it. Also, just make sure that when you are typing in the chat, it's to everyone, not because you can actually chat with anyone individually in here privately. But in order for me to see it, it's going to be directed to me, or if you put it to everyone, then everyone sees it. And by the way, just so you guys know, little bit of information, the host can see everything in the chat. So you may think you're putting something privately in the chat, but the host can see. So don't ever type anything in the chat you don't want the host to see, because the host will see it. Okay. So now you may want to, you might want to end the Zoom right now and go, okay, I learned something really valuable. Okay. So let's talk about branding a little bit. When you hear the word, sometimes people have a negative idea of branding because it may seem to put an emphasis on them. And, we know this business is not about us. It's always about the other person. However, all of us have talents and abilities that differ from the other person. And we all have interests that differ from the other person. And that's what you should be focusing your brand or your messaging in social media around. You guys have heard many times that you need to bring value to your content. Like, you got to bring value to your social media feed so that people want to consume the information, right? And so how do you stop the scroll? Like, how do you stop someone from scrolling, right? Because you don't want them scrolling past your stuff. And so the way to do that, there's a lot of things besides great pictures, is good content. And so sometimes people try to put content out by copying other people's content where they really don't have any skills in. For instance, I have worked on a roof before. In fact, I've laid the tar paper, I've put the plywood down, I've put the shingles down, but I can tell you, I would never try to teach someone how to roof. Okay. Because although I've done it, I don't have any skills there. I could really mess your roof up if you wanted me to. Right. And so even though I've done it, it's not where I can teach from. And so NAR is an interest of mine. So when you look at branding, what you want to do is you want to pick basically like 3 or 4 things that either you really, really like, or you have a lot of knowledge around. And so I'm looking at Cheryl Ray, right? And I'm just going to tell you guys right now, I don't know her full background around animals, but I know she knows a whole lot about dogs, a lot. Okay. And Cheryl, in my opinion, dogs should be part of her brand. And she's shaking her hair. I'm on the right. There's 4 pages of it. So I happen to be seeing her. So I see her shaking her head. She can give so much content. If a dog is sick, she can give some help. If a dog has weird poop, she can give some help. If a dog doesn't listen, she can give some help, right? And guys, there's like millions and millions and millions of dog owners. So she has a big audience, right? Dr. Joan is in our group up in the Connecticut area. Okay. She's a podiatrist, obviously. She knows a lot there, and there would be people just dying to know what she knows, right? Around foot pain or foot problems. If you're a realtor, oh my gosh. I mean, you could just be of such value to people if you're a realtor, because people do buy and sell property, and sometimes they just don't know. what the ins and outs are. And I could go on and on. I will tell you this. There is a few people outside of our company that I watch that do very well for themselves in social media and with their companies. And this one woman that I'm thinking about, some of you may know as soon as I tell you some of these interests. She has two big things she loves doing in her life. She loves the Chicago Cubs and she loves Disney World. And she makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. And most of it comes through social media. All right. And so you're like, are you kidding me? The Chicago Cubs and Disney World. And I'll tell you, when it comes to the Disney World thing, she has little pins. I guess it's a thing. Like, I don't even know, guys. I think I have bought some of those little pins for my kids at Disney World, but apparently they're big and like trading. Like, you trade your Mickey Mouse for someone's Daffy Duck or Donald Duck or whatever, right? And it's a big thing, right? And so she has a huge amount of following around that. So the other thing would be, we are in the wellness space, right? Health and wellness. And so when it comes to your brand, here's a given: health and wellness, okay? And home-based business, because all that applies to every one of us. Now, outside of that, it's up totally to you where your interests are. Now, here's why it's really important that you stick to your brand. It's that a lot of your money in social media is going to be made in conversations. And those conversations are going to come from people that you meet in Facebook groups. Facebook groups is something you guys should all be focused in for finding new contacts, building your database, and having conversations. I don't want to pick on Cheryl, but there's got to be hundreds of thousands of dog groups, just hundreds of thousands of dog groups. Okay. Like, I know fishing, you guys know me, right? So fishing is one of my deals. It's part of my brand. I love it. I was on my boat today. I went out for like 45 minutes. I got some live bait and I don't want it to just die. I want to use it. Right. And so, there's some groups in Florida that have over 100,000 people in one Facebook group. 100,000 people in one Facebook group. Okay. And so Facebook groups are where the people are that you can get their attention, become friends, start conversations, and eventually they may ask, or you may prospect them, right? And the reason I'm saying pick the things you enjoy is, I don't find it a task or work to be in a Facebook group about fishing. I enjoy it. I'm learning and I enjoy it. And so whatever you're going to pick your brand around, make sure it's on things you enjoy and you're knowledgeable in, all right? Because that's going to allow you to enjoy the work that you do. So, like I said, your two things are home-based business, health and wellness. And then outside of there, find the things that you've made money in your life or have experience around. I mean, like, if you've ever had kids, guess what? There's a lot of parents that need to know what you know, from how not to change a diaper to what to do when your kid has a fever, to on and on and on and on and on and on. Okay. So it could be pretty broad. So just know, when it comes to branding, it's important. And then you need to stay in that lane. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this, because I am seeing so many people do damage to their social media feeds right now by not staying in their lane. And here's what's important when it comes to your brand, guys. Think of your social media feeds like a television channel or program. Okay. I'm just going to throw some names out there. Okay. For instance, this is easy. If you go to ESPN, which is a sports network, right? It's sports, 24/7 sports. If you go to ESPN and there's a documentary on there about travel, you would be like, am I on the wrong channel? Like you would instantly be switching channels because you're not finding what you're looking for. Okay. If you're looking for your cooking channel and it's sports, you're going to be like, I hate sports. I want to learn how to cook a casserole. That's what it said was going to be on tonight. Right. And so that station would lose its audience. Pick your brand and stay in your lane. Because if you get outside of the lane, you're going to lose your audience. Okay. So you will be tempted from time to time when there are things going on that irritate you. Just know that there is absolutely no place for emotional decisions in business. Emotional decisions where you can grab a social media platform and type something generally don't lead to good things for you. Okay. And if you've got something that's really bugging you and you want to post it, please sleep on it one night. Please, one night, sleep on it. Okay. And it may be better to pick a couple days down the road to post it. If you feel like you see something and you have to post it immediately, it's probably not a good thing to post. Okay. And stay in your lane. Okay. So if you choose to go outside of that, that's okay. It just means you got to change your brand. That's all. Either that or start rebuilding your database, because that's what's going to happen. And so you don't want to work for months and years to build a following that's watching your channel and then lose them because you've got distracted by things that are going on. All right. And I can tell you, the year 2020 was the biggest challenge in my life to not be distracted. It was the biggest challenge of my business life to not get distracted. Because, and I'm not going to get off in the weeds, and I'll just tell you why. Because of what Lynette and I have built with this amazing team, Lynette and I have total freedom. We can go anywhere in the world when we want, how we want. It doesn't matter. Time, the calendar does not matter. And we lost that control in 2020. There were forces bigger than our finances and our time in 2020. And it about drove me insane because I couldn't go where I wanted to go when I wanted to go. And so that was really weird for us. And it was everything I could do to keep myself under control and stay in my lane and my channel. And I tried the best that I could. Oh, by the way, if you get out of your lane in social media, if you post something and you're out of your lane, you know one of the beautiful things? You can go back and delete it. You can go back as far as you want and delete. And that will be important, because as you get new friends, because you need new friends, you want to be adding new people. Part of your DMO should be building your network every day. When you friend request someone, I don't know if you're like me, but I can tell you what I do. Before I accept someone's request, I stalk them. I go and scroll and see who they are. And if I'm seeing a bunch of stuff that doesn't align with me, I'm not accepting their friend request. And so I can scroll through a couple of weeks or a month or so of their post, and that's how I'll generally decide if I'm going to accept their friend request or not. So let me go to the next thing, okay? Because we've already deep into this. Stories versus posts, okay? The first thing I'm going to tell you guys is, one of the things I'm loving, because Facebook owns Instagram, is I can do two things with one. Like I can get two birds with one stone. And you can post inside of Instagram and click a button that automatically sends it to Facebook. All right. It's right there. Just share with Facebook. It's a green button that you can push. Now, I will tell you that what I post in Instagram is a little different than what I post in Facebook. Okay. But my stories are the same, and I get double the audience. Now, I want to talk to you guys about what's going on with stories and with your regular feed. So when you're scrolling, the vertical thing, that's your feed, right? So there's basically two things going on in social media within Instagram and Facebook. You got the post, which is when you're scrolling, it's just vertical. And then you've got stories that are horizontal at the top, right? So you've got the ability to put your brand out in two different places within the same platform. And this is something that transitioned a few years ago. And what used to be a few years ago where you could post several times a day on your feed and it wasn't a problem, today it's a problem. Facebook does not like when you post multiple things throughout the day. It actually messes up your audience. People will see less of you. But what they like right now is stories. What they love is video. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. And they love stories and content in stories. And you can post 10, 15, 20 or more stories. And these stories are 15 to 20 seconds at max before they go to the next story. And so I'm going to give you guys, let me just talk about a little bit, give you a little bit of insight as to how this works. We know that the more people engage in your Facebook post or your Instagram post, the bigger your following and the more people see it. And by the way, a very small percentage of your friends see your post, okay? Unless you're doing things for high engagement. And at future training, we're going to do some short video trainings in social media about how to get more engagement. We're going to give you some specific examples. We're not going to do that tonight. But there's certain posts that you can put out that are designed specifically for engagement. And it's a strategy you can use to really boost your engagement or the people that are seeing your stuff. However, here's what I want you to think about when it comes to stories, all right? The longer people will stay on your stories, say 15 seconds, all right? Let's say 15, 0 to 100, all right? Of the 15 seconds, meaning like if they stay on for 7.5 seconds, that's a 50 score. What we want is a 100 score. We want a 100 score. That means they stayed on for 15 seconds in your story. The longer someone stays on your story, Instagram recognizes that, Facebook recognizes that, and they will then show your story to that person more regularly. Okay. Instead of it being the 40th or 50th story, which you never get to, no one goes that far. If it's not within the first 5 to 15 stories, typically people exit out. You want to be in that first 5 to 15. Well, how do you get there? By them watching all of your stories. Okay. So if someone's only watching 5 seconds of your story before they go to the next story, that's not good. You want them watching all 15 seconds. You actually want them going back and rewatching it. I'm going to tell you a little tip tonight on how they can do that. All right. And so what gets people to watch the stories? Videos, 15-second videos, guys. So if you're afraid to do Facebook Lives or Instagram's live video, start out in stories because it's just 15 seconds. All right. And in 15 seconds, it's not intimidating. And by the way, if your video is not a full 15 seconds, if it's 10 seconds and you stay on that whole time, that's good too. All right. So you can put a string of stories together, a string of them like, 2 would be 30 seconds, 3, 45 seconds, or 4 at a minute. And if people stay on all of those, that's really, really, really good. And you can tell some short stories. In fact, last month I had a strategy with stories where I told my skin cancer story in stories. And I put pictures inside the story. That's called a sequence. So those stories, when you put a story together, it's called a sequence. And I put a sequence together of live video and still pictures through stories. And I got really, really good engagement, right? If you're using just pictures, people are spending very little time on pictures, unless you're doing some really fun GIFs or GIFs. I don't know how you pronounce it. where it gets people's attention and they want to stay on, the best thing you can do is have quite a bit of text. And here's the little trick with text. Okay. Have you ever seen stories and there's like so much text and the print is so small? You're like, what the heck? I mean, how am I ever supposed to read this? That was intentionally done, guys, because you then typically will either have to hold it, which is counting screen time, or you have to go back and watch it again. Have any of you in the chat? I want you to write down in the chat. Have any of you ever seen a story and you didn't read it or couldn't read it and you went back so that you could read it again? Has anybody ever done that? So yes, Cheryl, Jill, Bobby, Mike, Ernie. Okay, see, I'm seeing a bunch of yeses. Okay. That was a strategy used by that person to make you go back and look at their stuff again, which even boosts your audience more. So if you're going to use a picture, put a lot of text on it, small font, to make people go back and watch it again. All right. Just a little trick, little hack, because that will send a message to Instagram and Facebook that, hey, this person likes me so much that they're going back and watching it 2 times, maybe 3 times. Okay. So write a little 3 or 4 sentence paragraph and it's going to force people to go back. All right. Another thing you want to use that gets people, if you're going to use a picture, is use Boomerang. It's a setting that kind of makes it a little bit fun. This is inside Instagram. All right. Some of these things, if you're hearing words that you don't know, if you're hearing terminology like boomerang, there's an easy way to figure it out, guys. Go to Google. Just Google what's Instagram boomerang, or go to YouTube and what's Instagram boomerang, and you'll find it there. All right. And when you're doing the video in stories, it's a selfie, guys. And while I'm on this little piece of information, I'm very guilty of this and I'm trying to get better. So I'm gonna go ahead and put myself right in the category. If you're at the beach, the picture of like taking a picture of, your knees to your toes, and look where I'm at the beach. That's cool. But what's way better is if they see your face. Okay. And I know people do that because they don't want anybody to see their face. They're trying to hide out a little bit sometimes, right? But your feed wants to see you. Instagram, Facebook, your audience wants to see you. And it's okay to be the real you. If you're too polished and it's too perfect all the time, people don't like that. All right. It's really good to be authentic and be you. All right. And so the highest traffic, or the people that get the highest traffic that I know in social media inside network marketing, they do a really good job of getting images of themselves. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you guys. It takes work. But I heard something recently that I'm taking to heart, and it's simple. If you post as an amateur, you will get paid as an amateur. All right? So I know a lot of people that are using the timers on their phones, or you get selfie sticks. And it's kind of awkward because, maybe it's a little embarrassing that you're out somewhere and you're taking pictures of yourself. However, if you want to have a following on social media, you need pictures of yourself. All right. Hire your kids, ask an aunt, an uncle, a dad, a mom, a cousin. Hey, can you set aside 15 minutes to take some pictures of me, and just go change into 2 or 3 outfits or 4 outfits and just take 50 pictures. And now you've got maybe 5 that you like or 10 that you like. All right. For the week. It's going to take a little bit of effort. All right. Work your way into it. I'm still working on it, but I'm just telling you, if you go look at the people that are doing really well on social media, they've got a lot of pictures of themselves there. All right. So just a little tip. Now, groups. We talked about groups a little bit. Yes, vulnerability, authenticity are very powerful. In the stories, there are letters at the top where you can add wording there. Yep, that helps. Yep, stories are doubling the viewers. They absolutely are. I need to learn how to pull all the wording on my stories. Cheryl, if I'm understanding your question there, Cheryl, or your statement, there's just a little icon you can touch that looks like an A or text. You touch it and you just start typing away. Type your message in, and you can, once you put it in and done, you can then expand or contract the message, make it big and small. I used to make them really big because I was like, hey, how can anybody read this? That was the wrong thing to do. Got to make it really small so they can't read it and they can go back. So let me see if I'm missing anything. All right, let me keep moving through this. We talked about Facebook groups a little bit. Don't go in there and spam right away. Like don't go in there and just start telling everybody about network marketing, LifeVantage. In fact, what you want to do is you want to be the expert in whatever group you're in, be highly engaged in that group. One that I have found a lot of success in is Peloton. In fact, my latest customer came from Peloton. I happen to have a bike. I'm on the bike 3 or 4 times a week. I cycled for 6-7 years before I was ever in LifeVantage. And so, and I don't know, but I think there's over 200,000 people in that Facebook group, right? And so my point in saying this to you guys is that in these groups, you want to be the person that's giving the most value. And people are going to be open to conversations with you in those groups. All right. So don't just go in the group and stalk them and then try and sell things to them. Go in, add value. And your purpose is to have conversations that lead to commissions, not commissions straight away. All right. We talked about distractions a little bit already. And staying in your lane. So we've already covered that. Here's a formula I want you guys to write down. It's 4-2-1, all right? And that simply equals 7, right? 4 + 2 + 1, 7 days a week. What you want is to put 4 posts a week around your brand, all right? Or the things that you know the most about, all right? So I'm looking at Tori Hill here and Tim's picture, so I know they're on. So knowing what I know about those guys, Tori was a school teacher. I mean, there's a lot of people getting homeschooled these days. I'm just saying. Tim was in the medical field, right? And so 4 posts a week. I'm looking at Ernie out in California, right? He does pools for a living. There's a lot of people that own pools. Like I've got a pool right now that's giving me trouble. Like for some crazy reason, half the water was out the hot tub and I have no flipping idea why. And it's driving me nuts, but I bet Ernie knows why, or he could point me in the right direction. Right. And so that's free. I can either pay for a repairman to come out here, or I can message Ernie and say, Ernie, got any idea why half the water was missing out of the hot tub? Right. And then Ernie starts a conversation with me, and Ernie's in LifeVantage. And at some point down the road, Ernie might say, hey, we had a conversation about your hot tub. There's some, go right into, you guys get what I'm saying, right? 4-2-1. So 4 posts a week around the things that you have skill and value to share. Okay. 2 posts a week around our business and health and wellness. All right. So both posts could be about a home-based business, or both posts could be about health and wellness. All right. And if your skill set, like Jenny Russick's on here, and I know she knows a lot about health and wellness. In fact, she has a business around it. So some of this might overlap a little bit. So 2 of those posts a week, when she's talking about health and wellness, it might want to be around oxidative stress, NRF2, cellular activation. You might want to get a little bit more pointed on those posts, right? And then 1 post a week where it's pretty blunt, okay? Blunt meaning it's obvious you're promoting a product, or there's something that excites you about a product. And I'm going to leave it up to you guys right now of how far you want to take that 1 post. Where I've seen my best success is where I'm doing Facebook Lives around that one post. When I do a Facebook Live, I will tend to update people on things that have been going on, and then have a really strong message around energy, sleep, sports performance, things that I can get people to ask me questions on, right? Like right now, I'll just tell you guys right now, here's my angle I'm working right now. You guys know I had surgery 4 months ago, right? Complete Achilles tendon repair. And right now, as it stands, every week, I am setting new personal records for post-surgery, right? So it basically means my foot is healing. My foot is healing really good. In fact, every week I'm getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Do you think there's a lot of people that are in pain and have issues with their feet or have had surgeries? You better believe they do. There's a lot of people who are not getting stronger, who are maybe hurting, and I'm going to find some of those people. So I am documenting that story right now, right? And so 4 around the things that you have skill set and knowledge on, 2 around health and wellness, and 1 is kind of a pretty strong post around LifeVantage and our products. Now, I will post sometimes things that say LifeVantage in them, or I will talk specifically about Protandim, but usually I'm not saying specifically anything that's trademarked. Reason why, number 1, I stay out of compliance issues. If I don't talk about trademark stuff, I stay out of compliance issues. If I don't say LifeVantage and I don't say Protandim, I don't have too many compliance issues, right? If I talk about having more energy, I'm sleeping better, my flexibility is better, my focus is better, that is very compliant conversation. And I honestly, I get huge engagement out of that. Sometimes better, most of the time, better engagement out of that than if I am very pointed and say Protandim or Nerve 2. Okay. So 4-2-1, that's a really good strategy for you guys to stick with. You want to do more posts, you can. Just know that the moment you post, like if you do 2 posts in a day on Facebook, the moment you post the second post, it starts competing with the last post. So if you post something in the morning and then you post something in the evening, the post that you put in the evening is now competing with attention for the one in the morning. So if the one in the morning hasn't got much traction or engagement, either take it down and repost, but I certainly wouldn't leave them both up. And here's a little tip. If you go in Messenger, it will tell you how many people, if you go to people, like I just did it, okay, and I'm going to show you right now. I don't know if you can see this. Let me go back to this other page. It's showing that I have 857 people. Can you guys see that? Active? Yeah, you can see it. Right now, I have 857 people in my network active. So if I post something, there's a pretty good chance a few of those guys are going to see it. Now, I know by watching that number. So how do you get that number, right? You go down here to people.
How you doing?
People down there?
I'm on a Zoom right now.
Oh, someone needs to mute their line. I'm hearing some other conversation. There it is. Okay. So if you click on people at the bottom, then you'll see that number at the top. Okay. And just monitor that for a day or 2, and it's going to tell you when your people are on. You don't post when it's convenient for you. You post when your people are on social media. So find out when your people are on social media, and that's when you should be posting. Okay. All right, let me keep moving a little bit. All right, we talked about that. Okay, if you don't know what to post, what I've always done is I will track, stalk, call it whatever you want, people that are putting good content out. You guys should probably have 10 to 20 LifeVantage people, leaders that you like their style, and track what they're doing throughout the day. And it's perfectly fine to get some ideas from them if you don't have any ideas from them for what you need to post for the day. If you ever find yourself not knowing what to post for the day, it probably means you don't have a social media plan, which means you're probably waking up and trying to decide, what should I post today? And that's just not a good way to do this business. you should have a plan of like, okay, this is what I want to post for the week, and kind of plan your week out, right? Plan out the 4-2-1, right? And it's really a good idea to have some type of digital note taking so that you can start working on those posts. So when you're in line at the doctor's office or have whatever your downtime you may get, kind of be active where you can go into some notes and create some posts so that you never find yourself in a jam of what to post. You've already got some content. If you're in a total jam where you don't know what to post and you don't have any content built out, go what we call R&D, rip off and duplicate someone else's stuff, right? Or if you've been at the social media game long enough, just go to your memories. Go to memories and find out what you posted a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago on the very same day and just change it a little bit. I probably have to do that 3 or 4 times a month, where I'll go into my memories and I'll literally just change a couple of words, maybe the picture, and I'll repost it. Okay. I have a habit of going into memories, and if it got a lot of engagement, I mean, you should use it again, guys. Okay. So that you can get more engagement again. So yes, Betty, this is being recorded. All right. So I've covered quite a bit of stuff. We are now at 8:40. We got about 18 minutes. I've answered one question. Let's go ahead and start putting some questions in there if you guys have some specific questions, and I'll try and answer those as we go in through here. And I'll give you guys a few seconds. I've got more content I can share with you guys if you don't have any questions. Don't R&D word for word. That's correct, Randall. Facebook will recognize that. Change it up just a little bit. That's right. So Facebook does recognize if you are just using exact other content, especially if it's something a lot of teams are using. That's why it's never good to have a team copy you exactly, because if 50 or 100 or 300 people put the exact same thing out, Facebook recognizes that and kind of shuts it down. Should we be using hashtags in Facebook? Instagram is good. So let me give you some. So not so much on Facebook unless you're trying to have some type of organization, like Nerf2, right? Inside, I like hashtags inside private Facebook groups because it is a kind of a way to organize. They are good on Instagram. But the latest information with hashtags and Instagram is you can overdo it. All right. So what many people are saying is stick to 3 to 5 hashtags, right? And have some hashtags that have a lot of people that have used them, like 500,000 users, right? And it will tell you when you pull the hashtag up, it'll tell you if 100,000 people have used it or 1 million people have used it or 5 million people have used it. Okay. So have a couple of hashtags that a lot of people have used, because when they search those hashtags, your stuff will be there. And then have a couple of hashtags where there's only maybe 20 to 50,000 in there. All right. So I typically try and stay, Karen, between 3 and 5 hashtags on Instagram only. I don't use hashtags in Facebook. If you see some hashtags in Facebook for me, it's because I was lazy and I posted in Instagram and I forgot or was too lazy to go back and delete it in Facebook, just being honest. Okay. Because when I post it in Instagram, it automatically goes to Facebook. So you'll see that a little bit. Liz says hashtags ? Not sure what you got. Maybe elaborate on that a little bit, Liz. I'm not sure what you are saying there. So John, can you show us again where to find out how many contacts are online right now? Yes. So John, go to Messenger, right? And inside Messenger, you should have 2 little icons at the bottom. One will say chats and the other one will say people. Okay. And when you click on people, when you click on people, it will show you, I've got 894. I think that means it's gone up by a few people since the last time I showed you. And I've got 196 in stories. Okay, that's who's active right now. So that's a way for you to know. It's kind of a way to cheat a little bit to know who's on their social media feeds. Good. When is it too late to post in the evening, Eric? Again, that's up to your audience. What I have found is anything past 10:30 is not good for me, for my engagement. If I post after 11 o'clock, and I've done this sometime because I've been like, oh crap, I didn't post anything today and I got to post something. So I post it and it gets like no engagement. And it's because my audience just wasn't there anymore. All right. So find out when your audience is there. I have found around 8 a.m., between 8 and 9 a.m. and anytime after 5 p.m., between 5 and 9 p.m. is the sweet spot. COVID changed a lot of that now because, with work, people aren't in their normal schedules. Normally people work till 5, come home, get dinner, get cleaned up, settle in around 8. Now they're settled in around 6 for a lot of people. It's just different now under COVID. I get engagement on posts outside of health and wellness. How do I get better? I've got good engagement on my posts outside of health and wellness. How do I get better engagement? Randy, is that, you mean inside of health and wellness? Is that the question? Like, how, okay. So I see you shaking your head. Yeah. How am I get better engagement there? Document your own health story. Like that's what I'm doing to get better engagement in my health and wellness stuff. Like I said, with my foot, I am documenting my own health story and I am getting better engagement. There is a woman, well, you guys may know Stacy King, right? She's a Pro 6 now. She's knocking on the door of Pro 7. She was stuck forever at Pro 1. She was stuck forever at Pro 1 until she documented some weight loss. She documented the before and after stories and just taught people what she did when she was posting on that health and wellness. When she was doing her post for health and wellness, she was teaching people how to lose weight by her own story. Okay. So that's the best way to get engagement, is to create your own health story and then go teach it. Okay. So I did the same thing with skin cancer. Like I've got a health story with skin cancer. I've got a health story with my Achilles tendon. So that's the best way there. Where are you with team blitzes? Where I'll post the same question to follow up on. Where are you with team blitzes? Where I'll post the same question to follow up on. Jenny, if you could elaborate on that just a little bit, I'll come back to that. Is it okay to tag someone in a comment to use them as a third-party validation? I just tagged you in Achilles heel surgery post. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's really good. As long as you do what you've done here, Teresa, and said, hey, I tagged you in a post. Don't ignore that notification. So go in there and put something in there. So yeah, I'll do that. I'll look for that tonight, Teresa. And that might be a way to lead to a conversation. Ben, how do I get the activated videos for our stories? Do we buy them through LV? Activated videos. I'm not sure what activated videos you're talking about. But you should be able to find stuff through the app. And so that might be what you're talking about. If I'm not mistaken, there are some videos labeled activated. And it's inside the app and you can download it to your phone and then use it that way. I think someone did that today. I thought I saw that in stories, that someone today inside of our team had an activated video inside of stories. Can't say for sure. Okay, I'll get more video. I just figured out stories, selfie videos. That's awesome, Sharon. That makes me feel so good. That puts a smile on my face. A little tip, Sharon. You don't have to hold the button down in Instagram. So if you go in Instagram, guys, and you're shooting a video, let me just show you where you can. Okay, so this is my Instagram account, and it's going to be just a mirror. Yeah, my battery is running dead. There's a little arrow. Let me see if I can move to where it's black and you can see it. Where are we? Can we not see it? Anyway, there's an arrow here. I'm going to hit the arrow. And when you hit the arrow, a hands-free option comes up. Can you see that where it says hands-free? Okay. If you hit hands free, you no longer have to hold the button and it will just record straight through. So that way you can put it on a tripod, you can put it on something that doesn't shake. And I think it will give you a minute. It gives you 4 15-second segments. I think it's 60 seconds it will give you there. I love that you guys are learning some things. A LinkedIn question, we're going to leave that for another training. Are there certain times that are better than to post than others? Yeah, Ernie, like I said to your audience, should I be giving my Facebook page a name when I start one? Lorraine, should I be giving my Facebook page a name when I start one? So tonight we're talking about your personal profile, not a business page. Some people call it a business page. Some people call it a fan page. Lynette and I have a business page or fan page. It's Brandon and Lynette Cunningham. It's where we put generic content out and generic trainings out. But for everything we've talked about tonight, this is your personal page, okay? Or your, not page, profile. Because I don't want to mess up the terminology. There's pages, there's profiles, there's groups. Okay. Good. What can we post on TikTok? Yeah, TikTok, what to post. Okay. So let me talk about TikTok just for a little bit. It's a very personal thing in there. Like TikTok, I'm just going to tell you guys, I stayed off of it for the longest time. And then I jumped on and I went hard on it for about 3 weeks where I was just learning, cramming, and I started posting some stuff, started getting followers. And I recently deleted TikTok from my phone. Like it's no longer on my phone, right? It's my personal decision, all right? And so no judgment. But let me tell you what I've learned about TikTok as far as what you should be posting in there, right? TikTok is a place where people go for lighter material. They don't go there really to learn anything too much or too heavy, right? You can have fun in TikTok. Like that is a place where people want to have fun, right? They want to laugh. They want to have fun. I will tell you that I was getting some really good engagement in TikTok when I was in my lane about things that I know a lot about, but I was having fun with it. Okay. And so number one, have fun there because that's what people want to have there, but have fun with the things that you know really well. Okay. So I'm thinking about dogs, and I don't know why I'm thinking about dogs and poop, but if you know a lot about dogs, you might want to do some TikToks about dogs and poop. And there you go. You probably have a lot of people that follow you and think you're hilarious. Okay. Exactly how does Boomerang work? Boomerang is basically a picture. So you're moving, like you'll see a lot of people who, it's just some short activity. Like I've done some boomerangs with my green egg. The green egg is a wood burning smoker that we cook on, right? By the way, that's another group that I kill it in all the time, like, because we love to cook. And I've had a green egg for, my daughter is 13. We've had a green egg for 13 years. I'm just going to tell you because I love you guys. You guys want to know why I got a green egg? It has to do with poop. My daughter pooped so bad in a diaper once at a restaurant that I'm like, Lynette, we're not going out to eat anymore until these kids are out of diapers. They're just like, we're just going to cook at home. And if we're going to cook at home, we're going to cook better than the food we would go eat at a restaurant. So that's why we got a green egg. Now you know a little history about the Cunninghams. I don't know why poop is a conversation tonight, but anyway, so boomerang is just a picture you can take. It's good when you got movement. So like if I've got something cooking, I'll boomerang the lid coming open. So the lid comes open and closes, but when it opens, there's smoke and there's food. And you know, you can boomerang anything that's got some motion. So like the motion goes and it comes back, right? And so just play with it. Do you ever friend your friends on Facebook? No, I don't do that. I don't friend friends on Facebook. I did that early on. That was a technique 6 or 7 years ago. I don't do that anymore because it would be almost like trying to force someone to watch your television channel. Like if you're about sports and your friends hate sports and you're going to friend request them or try and get them on to look at your stuff, like they may accept your friend request, but hate sports or hate green eggs and dogs. I don't know. It's much, much better to attract people to you in Facebook groups and what you're putting out. A great way for people to boost who's following you is through shares. So when people share your content, when people share what you have out to their network, that's when you get a lot of friends and friend requests. Okay. It's relate really well. Love it, love it, love it. Yes, Ben, that's a good point. Your stories last 24 hours. And so make sure that the first thing you put up is pretty good, meaning it's going to grab their attention. And it's best if it's you. If it's a picture of you or a video of you, that's best because that will kick off the process of them watching the sequence. So I get engagement when is my grandkids, but when I post about health and wellness, I get almost no response. Yes, Anna, thank you for that. It's the last thing I'll comment on this. She's asking about engagement on health and wellness. So here's the thing. Don't be discouraged by not getting the same engagement when you post on health and wellness as other things. Lynette and I have this conversation all the time. She's like, Lynette will put a great post out and it's like crickets. So I will too. And she's like, this is so irritating. Like I'll post about, I don't know. I'll post about some outdoor furniture and 100 people want to know about that. And then I post about oxidative stress and it's like nothing, right? Don't be discouraged by that, guys. People are going to watch you and they're going to engage with you when they're ready to engage with you. And that's why it's so important to stay in your lane and put good content out. Because if you're not putting good content out, or if you get distracted, they're probably never going to engage with you on your health and wellness post. They're never going to ask those questions and they're going to stalk you for a few months. Guys, I got a lot of people that have enrolled. Guys, listen, Lynette and I have got some extremely significant enrollments in 2020 because of social media, because they get to watch your life. They get to watch who you are. And the more authentic you are, the more they feel like they know you and trust you. And when they're ready to make a decision, they're going to talk to the people they know and trust, right? And so you got to be consistent. Don't post once a week, post every day, stay consistent. Because listen, if you're not consistent with your post, that probably means that's sending a message to them that you're not going to be consistent in supporting them either in this business. So stay consistent in this every day. And don't be discouraged by that, Anna. Stick to it. And eventually you're going to get more and more attraction to that. And I will tell you, Anna, if you really want to kick it up a notch when you're posting about health and wellness, if you can, go live, do a short video, because that will get more engagement. Live video gets more engagement. What should be my first post to grab attention for weight loss story? I would do video, and I would use what Pat Quinn just taught, right? He taught the before, the pivot, and the after. So Robin, I'm talking to you about what to post, right? So do some live video in there. They're 15-second segments. And so in those segments, go in and say, hey guys, look, I've been battling with some extra weight I couldn't get off. This is what it was making me feel like. I felt like no matter how much I tried, I kept gaining weight. I walked past the refrigerator. I'd have to open it and I gained weight. A lot of my clothes weren't fitting or couldn't tie my shoes, whatever your story is. And then a friend of mine introduced me to some simple things that I started doing. And within a couple of weeks, my cravings were down. I noticed I had more energy. Like, I'm just giving you some examples, right? So, but do this in a video format, Robin, in stories. And that is how you'll get engagement there. Tori Hill, look at that. If you can teach Tori something, you've done something, because that girl is on it. That is one of the top leaders in this entire organization, Tori and Tim Hill, guys. Yes, Ben, if you click on your stories, it'll tell you how many people have watched and engaged in your stories. And Instagram really tells you a lot of data on who's watching and for how long. Instagram's really awesome the more you dive into it. Instagram will tell you how many friends you got for the week, how many people left for the week. So if you want to know if you're staying in your lane or not, go look at your Instagram account and see how many people are joining you versus how many people are leaving. How many lives a week? I'd say at least one, Eileen, at least one live a week. But if you can go live 2 or 3 times a week, I think that's fantastic. Fantastic. Where was the hands-free symbol on the camera settings? Wendy, that is in Instagram, and there's a little drop-down arrow. Can you give me an example of not being in your lane? Jill Windage. Well, I'd have to know what's in your lane, but I can just tell you the big ones in 2020 was the coronavirus and politics. That were the two. The coronavirus and politics. Saw a lot of people get out of their lanes there, and I don't know, it's a personal decision, but here's what it comes to those things, guys. Remember that you are the leader of a team. And now I'm over 9 o'clock and I'm going to stop after I say this. Remember, you are the leader of a team and you're setting the example for your team. And if you post something that has got you a little hot under the collar, I can promise you that it has an effect on your team. And if there's something negative you're posting about, and there's a lot of stuff right now, I saw some stuff tonight that I'm so tempted to spend some time watching because there's some stuff going on in our nation right now. And it was a LifeVantage person that posted it, and it's got me distracted. It's got me distracted from this tonight. Literally, I spent 10 minutes on this when I should have spent 10 minutes more prepping for this Zoom tonight. I lost 10 minutes of precious prep time for you guys because I got distracted on someone else's social media feed. Okay. I can promise you that if you're putting stuff out like that, you're probably distracting your team from income producing activities. And you may be bringing their signal down. And your signal is everything. If your signal is down, everybody feels it. Everybody feels it, guys. And so you gotta do your very best to keep the energy high, smile. Like, you know, if you're upset, you're not smiling. And I can promise you the people that have the biggest engagement, go look at Fraser Brooks' feed and see how many times he's not smiling. Go look. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on, right? So, and go look in those guys' feed and see how much they've talked about politics or the coronavirus. I'm just saying, okay? It's okay to do it because you are an independent distributor and you can do whatever you want. I'm just telling you, you've created a brand and it's better to stay in that lane and not get out of the lane, okay? Just food for thought. So we're over time. I hope this has helped. I want to do some more of this. We're going to bring some more people in. I've got the feeling that we're going to do some more of this type work with me training type stuff where we've got some Q&As. I hope that this was beneficial for you guys. I know it was for some. And we'll have this recording up as soon as we can, guys. So thank you guys for being on here, and tag your teams in when you see this go into Team True Blue. Tag your people so that they can see it. You guys have a fantastic, fantastic night. And I'm going to be watching your feeds. I've been watching your feeds. I'm going to watch your feeds some more because I want to see your brand. So, all right, guys, talk to you later.